I have a question for you. Have you ever found yourself questioning your abilities, your memory, or even your own sanity? I have, absolutely. If you have ADHD, there is a really good chance that you have experienced this gaslighting trap. In fact, it is self-gaslighting, and that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Sara Kelly. I'm an ADHD coach, and I come out with videos every single week on everything ADHD and the isms that come along with having ADHD. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and turn on your notifications so that you never miss a video for me. With so many terms out on the web right now, like gaslighting, stonewalling, manipulation, I just wanted to take a moment and read to you all what the definition of gaslighting is as far as I could find. Gaslighting is a psychological manipulation technique where one person tries to make another person doubt their own perceptions and experiences. This can happen in relationships, at work, or even within oneself, and it's very much like rejection sensitivity dysphoria. It can be perceived or actual rejection, or even a rejection of ourselves. So how does this circle back to self-gaslighting and ADHD? Well, we struggle a ton with organization, with our working memory, with focus, and with time management. And that can make it really, really easy for us to fall into the trap of self-gaslighting ourselves, because we tend to beat ourselves up and we tend to create things in our head because we've dealt with so much rejection. ADHD has nothing to do with intellect. So many people with ADHD have a very high IQ, they're very intellectual. It's more a executive dysfunction that we deal with. So people with ADHD struggle with working memory, we struggle with ordination of tasks, we struggle with time management. And when we're beating ourselves up for something that is part of our disability, that is absolutely gaslighting. Research has shown that people with ADHD struggle with emotional trauma. I like to think of it as neurodivergent trauma, and that really chalks up to all of the isms that we have as ADHDers. I don't know about you, but I have been told that I am too much, I am not enough, and everything else in between. And that really does start affecting our psyche. We start believing the things that we're told during our adolescence and when we are even adults. You know, someone saying, why do you always interrupt me? Or why are you always late? Or why are you so disorganized? Hearing these things over and over again, we start believing it. It starts becoming our self-fulfilling prophecy. And this is how we can really fall into self-gaslighting ourselves. A study published in the Journal of Abnormal Psychology found that individuals with ADHD are more likely to experience rejection, criticism, and failure, which can contribute to self-gaslighting. And I have the link for that article pinned below this video. Examples of self-gaslighting in people with ADHD include discounting successes, blaming oneself for failures, and even feeling like a fraud sometimes. Hello, have you suffered from imposter syndrome? I know that I have a ton. These negative thoughts can have a severe impact on our mental health, our productivity, and our self-esteem. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been ruminating on negative thoughts, self-gaslighting, and because of our time blindness, all of a sudden 3 hours has gone by and you've been in total paralysis because you're too scared to move forward for fear of failure? That is absolutely how self-gaslighting can really bite us in the butt as ADHDers. We tend to ruminate on the negative. And I'm by no means saying that every single person with ADHD thinks negatively, but I am a mindset coach. So people who do struggle with self-esteem and do struggle with mindset, that is the audience I'm talking to. So I want to share with you a couple of strategies to stop self-gaslighting that you can use today, right now. And the first one is practicing self-compassion, giving yourself grace. This is huge. Realize, if you struggle with these things, that ADHD is a real condition. It is a neurological condition. The chemistry of our brain, our makeup is completely different. Additionally, we have received way more negative feedback than the average neurotypical person. And here's just an interesting stat that I have shared many, many times on this channel. The average child by 10 years old has heard 20,000 pieces of negative feedback when they have ADHD next to a neurotypical child. Like, that is actually going to change how you see and how you feel. If you're told something enough of the same time, if you're received negatively over and over and over again, you're going to start believing it. If this video is resonating with you, please like this video and comment. If you struggle with self-gaslighting behavior, or if you love an ADHDer who does, liking this video and commenting pushes this video out to more people in the algorithm who might be struggling with self-gaslighting. The second tip is seek support from others. Do you have a logical friend, a logical person in your life, or a therapist or an ADHD coach who can help give you some perspective when you are ruminating in negative thoughts and self-gaslighting yourself? Sometimes getting someone else to come into that conversation, that internal narrative that we're having with ourselves, can really give us perspective. And I like to think of it like this. Have you ever been sitting somewhere where there's a window close by and you see a fly trying to bat its body to get out of the window, and it's batting itself tirelessly? Think of that as being an ADHDer and ruminating on negative thoughts and negative self-talk. Sometimes when we're too close to a situation, we can't see a way out of it. We can't see other points of view. But then when we look at the fly example, if we are just to back up a few feet, if that fly was just to back up a few feet, he or she would see that there is an opening that the fly can get out. But the fly is too close to that situation to really gain perspective. So the next time you are falling into either black and white thinking or self-sabotaging, I want you to think about that fly and ask yourself, am I being that fly right now? If maybe I back up and take some perspective to my thought process, become this analytical detective that is going to challenge the blanket statements that I'm telling myself, would I maybe have a different perspective? So if you have a friend or someone who's logical and someone who's going to validate your feelings, but not necessarily the things that you're saying to yourself, bounce some of these self-gaslighting tendencies and behaviors and things that you're saying to yourself with them and let them help you gain some perspective. The next thing you can try is to reframe negative thoughts. Instead of thinking, I am always messing everything up, how about thinking, through my mistakes, I'm learning to be better. I'm getting closer to the solution. Have more of that growth mentality. And I have a video on perfectionism and also black and white thinking linked below this video. So if you struggle with those things, you can check out those videos next. And finally, my last tip is celebrating successes. We're so good at being this horse with blinders on, where we only see our shortcomings and they are overshadowing the things that are going right in our life, so we're not noticing them as much. Celebrating the small wins creates dopamine, it gives us validation, and it helps open up our perspective to there is way more to us than our shortcomings. And if you'd like to know a little bit more about how the reticular activator and our brain works and how you can actually control what you are noticing more, and it will absolutely change the trajectory of your life to start noticing the green lights more than the red lights that you are going through when you are driving, there is a video on Lucky Girl Syndrome linked also below this video. Gaslighting is a harmful behavior that can take a toll on one's mental health and well-being. By recognizing the signs of self-gaslighting and starting to practice more mindfulness and self-compassion, people with ADHD can break free from the self-gaslighting trap by building more trust in themselves and start building a more positive and productive relationship with themselves. If your ADHD has led you to struggling with overwhelm, anxiety, depression, lower self-esteem, I do have a free masterclass linked below this video that goes over the 5 pillars to creating lasting change and building self-confidence, completely ADHD friendly. The link is right below that video. All you need to do is put in your first name and your email address, and I will send you the pre-recorded webinar. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really enjoyed making it. I hope that you got a ton of value from it. If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next week in the next video.